Underdog is the leading place to make all your sports picks, and you can play now in your state. Millions of fans have already won billions making picks on Underdog, and it's easy. All you have to do is download the app and choose whether a player will go higher or lower on one of their stats. You can choose strikeouts, total bases, or home runs, or go higher or lower on three-pointers or rebounds. You can play with as little as $1. If you get everything right, you could win up to 1,000 times your money. This week, I'm looking at baseball, and as usual, Aaron Judge is my choice to go higher on the stats that involve his hitting. Download the Underdog app or go to UnderdogFantasy.com and sign up with promo code GARAGE to unlock a special offer of up to $1,000 in bonus cash when you make your first deposit. That's promo code GARAGE. Must be 18 plus, 19 plus in Alabama and Nebraska, 19 plus in Colorado for some games, 21 plus in Massachusetts and Arizona, and present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit ncp.gambling.org. In Arizona, call 1-800-NEXT-STEP or text NEXT STEP 53342. In New York, call the 24/7 Hope line at 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY.
The Knack Hardware Lounge brings your Garage Logic podcast number 1550, May 22nd, 2025, 99 degrees. The record high on this day, that was in 1925, and it was as chilly as 32 degrees in 1917.
Hail the flashlight king.
And now, from the mayor's office above the boathouse on the east shore of Spoon Lake, it's Garage Logic with Chris Reavers manning Technology Corner, Kenny Olson from the Krabby Coffee Shop, John Heidt in the newsroom, and of course, the rookie. Here is your flashlight king, fireworks commissioner, and the keeper of common sense, your mayor, Joe Soucheray.
I didn't think Trump would accept the jet from Qatar or Qatar or whatever the hell the country's name is.
Boy, were you wrong.
Only to discover that the royal family has been trying to unload that lemon for 5 years. They hired a guy to sell it in the airplane selling business, and they can't get rid of it. It's had a Craigslist rebuild. It's probably got some spray paint on the
rattle
engine.
can, the fuselage.
Yeah.
Threw a blanket over the seats.
Took a plane they've been trying to get rid of.
You know what I thought of when I was reading this morning? Bringing it to who's our guy, the Pawn Stars?
Yeah.
I got a guy. I got to come take
I
a
got
look
to
at
talk
it.
to a guy about this.
This thing's worth about $6.
New tranny, new lifters. We got a new cam in there. Lost the receipts.
Transmission's full of sawdust. This is outrageous. He not only he takes this damn thing. They've been trying to get rid of it to the point where let's see if we can find some sucker to take it. And, of course, all you have to do is flatter this idiot, and he'll take the plane. So he took the plane, and now the American taxpayer's on the hook because, obviously, they have to...
They got to gut it.
Take the damn thing apart and put it back together again to get rid of the secret communist chips.
A refitting could cost $1 billion.
Honest to God. They took a free $400 million plane... And plus, John, I read that it could take years.
Yes, he wouldn't be president after.
Okay,
wait a minute.
I got a question.
Talk to me.
Boeing, he is disgruntled because Boeing apparently has been dragging its feet on making 2 new Air Force Ones. So he runs out and he snaps up this roadside offer. He sees the sign as he's driving through Wisconsin, and he takes the plane only to discover that A, they didn't want it anyway, and B, we don't know how long or how much it will take to put it into service.
But once it's done, it'll be
what
tremendous.
a deal maker. What a deal maker.
It's a 747. These things are rare.
Yeah.
It's going to be a collector's item someday. Why not restore it now then watch the value appreciate?
No, you need the box.
You need the original box.
You need the original box.
We learned that from
Then they're worth something.
And I need the builder's sheet. Is that somewhere in the trunk lid?
And then I want to run down, XY2 means Seattle Assembly Plant.
Yeah,
And then,
exactly. Exactly.
Now, here's another thing. It's not just a 747. Apparently, 747s had option packages.
Oh, yeah.
And it's the deluxe 747.
Like electric
Probably got
windows
the
or
piano
crank.
lounge
Yeah.
upstairs.
Leather seats.
Yeah, that whole deal.
So it's not keys and a heater.
Electric windows.
No. Air conditioning runs cool. Cool air conditioning.
So no heated seats, or did you confirm heated seats?
I did not confirm heated seats.
Wait a minute. This thing's it comes with a title, right? I'm not going to have to apply for a title.
No, it's bill of sale. It's bill of sale.
Great.
Qatar can't find the title.
And on the side window, as is. As is.
Really?
Welcome to
warranty
2025.
The warranty lasts till the end of the runway. And then
Once that sucker takes off, you're on your own.
I also read that the plane is already in this country. So I would imagine what a process to begin with a plane that size.
Do you think I had to stop mid-flight?
Where are they going to
Refuel.
Where will
Was
this
there-
work take place?
wait, was there a delivery charge?
No delivery fees.
I bet you they bring it back to the factory, don't they?
I bet they
I
do.
I don't know.
Where that work then will step in front of the line of the two 747s already under construction, both of which presumably would be done far before you can rebuild this crap can. So what the hell kind of deal was this?
Ken, you know what we should have done? We should have given this thing to, who's the guy on Pimp My Ride? Ice Cube?
Yeah.
We should have given it to Ice Cube.
Plus, what do you think a paint job costs for a plane that size?
Oh, boy, that's a good question.
Because you ain't flying them with them cutter colors.
It ain't no Earl Scheib $9.99.
Then you got to take out all the thick velvet drapes that suggest a whorehouse. You got to get rid of all that. I suppose you'll keep the gold bathroom fittings. That's probably what got them.
The
You
cost
know
of-
it
Oh, go ahead.
reeks of perfume in there too, don't you? It's just nasty.
Camel smell.
Like an old cat house.
Oh,
Joe, the cost to paint a Boeing 747 aircraft can
let me
range
guess. Over $100,000.
from $175,000 to $300,000 or even higher, depending upon the complexity of the design and any additional factors. This price includes the cost of labor, materials, and the specialized facilities needed for painting.
Joe, I guarantee you, Derek Beery, our guy, could get that thing painted for under $50,000.
Well, he'd do it himself.
And you get some Donnie Smith pinstriping on it. and with
Gee
the
whiz.
flames on the wings.
Now, the cost to paint the underside of a 747 can exceed $1 million.
Well, that and painting is only a small part of the work required to make sure the guy's going to be safe in it, for God's sakes.
You have to put a nice finish on it, too.
For all we know, there's Qataris hiding in there. You know.
I wonder what the ad looked like. No tire kickers, serious inquiry. None of these endless questions. If you want to know about it, come see it in person.
No, it said emails only, no phone calls. You guys, I have purposely ignored this story, believing it to be. I don't know what I believed it to be, but I purposely ignored it. It's a story of a couple in St. Louis Park who have a couple of kids, two boys, age 9 and 12, and they have a basketball hoop in their driveway. And the neighbors have been hectoring them about this basketball hoop. They don't like it.
When it first started, the story started, the basketball hoop was too close to the property line. The setback wasn't far enough. So they corrected that. But the neighbors have kept at it and kept at it.
It
and
was
kept
6
at
inches.
It. Right.
6 inches too close.
I guess
Correct.
now I'm paying attention to the story because it might be a story of America. It might be the story of America.
I think
I really
know
think
a
it is.
divided America.
divided America.
Now, a lawsuit and a motion for an injunction against the family has been dismissed. I think the judges have been looking at this and they've thrown it out at every step.
I think common sense is prevailing.
The family's name is Moding. What is their name? Lily Moding's the mom, And she's now the most current story says a day after a St. Louis Park family received a cease and desist order over a basketball hoop saga, the case in its entirety has been dismissed. Lily Moding told Fox 9's Mary McGuire a judge has dismissed a motion for an injunction. Does that's what suggesting that the injunction would have prevented the kids from shooting baskets, right?
Correct.
Right. Okay, that's been dismissed, as well as the overarching lawsuit in the case. That's been dismissed. The Moding family is meeting with their lawyer Tuesday night. I guess that means this. Well, let me see when this was dated. Oh, they've met with their lawyer already to go over details in court documents that have expected to be filed. It means the hoop stays and the kids can continue to play without repercussions. We're overwhelmed with relief and gratitude to the city of St. Louis Park and the court for standing by the truth. This past year, this went on for a year?
Yeah. At great expense to this family, by the way, Joe, too.
Yeah. This past year has tested us in ways we never could have imagined. No family should have to go through the kind of bullying, fear, and relentless intimidation that we experience. We hope this outcome brings peace, not just to our family, but to the community that deserves better. Okay, Moding. Lily is the mom of two boys who simply wanted to play basketball on their own driveway. The move, said the family neighbor, Julia Ramos. The Moding family said the move from Julia Ramos is not a surprise. I don't know what I'm reading here because the story's confusing. Apparently, the Moding family has begun a GoFundMe page.
Right.
Which maybe that will end now that this suit is done.
I believe in the story I'm reading, they have already paid out of their own pocket up to $3,300, responding to everything that has been filed against them. The people filing it, the neighbors, are lawyers, so they can do this at no cost to themselves. At one point, the neighbors filed a restraining order against the kid's dad, the husband, in connection with him retrieving a few stray basketballs from her yard. The court dismissed that restraining order with prejudice, meaning it was found to have no merit and cannot be refiled. And now she has filed, this lawyer, this bad neighbor, has filed a civil lawsuit against the family and the city of St. Louis Park over a basketball hoop. 100% compliant with city zoning rules.
As I say, it might be the story of America.
Yeah, and they've raised $29,000 so far. And this isn't over. These two lawyers, these two neighbors have moved in and just wreaked havoc.
Well, the woman's name, the neighbor's name is Ramos, and she's argued from the start where the basketball hoop is located violates city code and filed a motion for an injunction to have it removed altogether. Ramos filed a lawsuit saying the family is trespassing when they go into her yard to retrieve basketballs.
Wow. Class A.
Oh, well, it gets better.
You know what?
This letter was meant to scare us into silence, Moding said. Our neighbors who have law degrees themselves have now hired additional legal counsel to assist them in pursuing action. This is lawfare.
Yeah,
this is lawfare. To assist them in pursuing action against us personally, Lily Moding said. But we won't let fear dictate how we move through this. It's overwhelming to be threatened for speaking out, especially when you're already financially drained. But we're not going to let fear win. Ramos filed a motion for injunction to prevent the kids from playing basketball until the case is resolved. Let me pause right there. Doesn't it sound like the case is resolved now? The lawsuit's been dismissed?
It doesn't, I hate using the word feel, but this seems like something that's going to drag on and on and on. They've also tried to keep the kids out of the yard for safety reasons, saying they are doing some construction and remodeling and that they fear that the kids will get hurt if they chase these stray balls into their yard.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, these are the worst kind of people on the planet. And they're everywhere. Big cities, small towns, country. They're everywhere.
What's wrong here? Would they prefer that the kids pack heat and go out and join a gang?
No, they would prefer no kids at all. They're trying to remodel the neighborhood to meet their values.
Rook, get in my head. What does this remind me of? It came up on the show in your old neighborhood. Came up on the show in your old neighborhood regarding a swimming pool. Wasn't there a woman in your old neighborhood who was disturbed that the kids were swimming? Remember that?
Yes.
Was it swimming or playing basketball?
I think it was just playing in the yard.
Playing in the yard. And she wasn't even, was she an immediate neighbor?
She was, I think she was 2 houses down.
And the reason it came up is because she did make some kind of public fuss about it.
Yes.
And her grief was, her aggrieved nature stemmed from the fact that the neighborhood kids were playing.
And just playing, not doing it.
That's
loud.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's Matt Grogan for you.
We're lucky enough up here we get to read the police blotter.
Yeah.
And I'm going to say 70% of the calls or the items on the police blotter are people like this, neighbors complaining about other neighbors.
Well, if these people would care to talk, I would like to ask them a question. Obviously, we're not going to try to reach them. They'd end up suing us. Well, the question I would have is, presumably, you moved in after the Moding family was living there.
Yeah.
All right?
Yeah.
So when you moved in, you also presumably saw the basketball hoop. We now know that apparently basketball hoops trigger you. Why then did you choose to buy there? Maybe you could have kept up your search for a house.
When do you think they decided to go after the basketball hoop? Do you think it was the first time they went and viewed the property? Or do you think it was after they had signed and closed on the deal and moved in? I wonder when the decision was made.
And I wonder if at some point they just said, well, we won't worry about the basketball hoop, honey. We'll just sue the hell out of them.
We'll just drain them.
Looking ahead.
We'll just rub them down.
Yeah.
Well, that's a shame. I'm glad it's working out for the Modens, but they got to live next to these people.
Yeah, that's the other thing.
They got to live next to these people. These people, I don't think they're going to be going to the block party.
No, that is a tough block party.
My favorite, Joe, is when people move out to the country and then they call 911 because they smell manure.
Yeah.
Or what's all the gunshots? And they have to have a deputy come out and explain to them, well, this is the country and on your own land, you can do whatever the hell you want. America, all that stuff.
Somebody just shot a big rat. A rat? There's rats here?
No, but then when you find out they don't like gunshots, then what happens? Then there's nonstop gunshots.
Yeah.
Right away, I get up at 4 a.m, stick my gun out the window, bam, bam,
Bam, bam, bam.
right before I go to bed, stick it out the window.
Well, the guy up at the lake, I was there one night by myself, about 5 a.m, bam, 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 shotgun. All he was doing was trying to shut up the crows. Crows were going crazy. He didn't like it. He waited down there as PJs and started blasting into the air.
Got to get some sleep.
Boom, boom, boom.
You don't want to make crows angry. You got to keep them on your side.
Someone needs to get that guy a box fan for the bedroom.
Oh, a little white noise deal?
Just get some white noise.
He's no
sir.
longer with us, unfortunately.
Oh, shotgun?
No,
Rage finally killed him.
No. No, he had an accident. He was a good guy. He was a neat guy.
Well,
Sounds like it.
But just being a idiot, it startled the hell out of me the first time I heard it.
As it should.
Yeah. I didn't file a complaint, though.
Anybody that fires
To your
warning
credit.
shots is a good guy in my book.
Yeah.
Say extra is what's ordinary in Sioux Falls. Get it? Extraordinary? Just look at the numbers. In addition to having a business-friendly tax environment with no personal or corporate or state income taxes, Sioux Falls is growing as a large, well-educated workforce. Let me cut to the chase. If you're planning to start a new business, expanding your current business, relocating your current business, you might want to take a look at South Dakota, and in particular Sioux Falls, almost 300,000 people with a ready and willing workforce. Well, the tax situation in South Dakota is a bit different than Minnesota. So, the tax, did I say South Dakota? Yeah, it's different.
Pretty sure.
Than Minnesota. Entrepreneurs are welcome in Sioux Falls. The workforce is ready and waiting. And really low business costs combined with a high quality of life. No state, corporate, personal, income tax, no inheritance tax, no limits to what your business can achieve. Check it out at SiouxFallsDevelopment.com.
Reavers here once again for my guy, Mr. Money Talk, Josh Arnold. Does thinking about retirement make you uncomfortable? Well, sometimes the anxiety from wondering if you've saved enough can be overwhelming. But what if I told you that you could ease those tensions in just 48 minutes? Well, Mr. Money Talk is going to be able to sit down with you and get you on the right track for your financial future. Josh has navigated it all when it comes to uncertain market and economic conditions, and he'll always provide straight talk, never sugar-coated advice on how to reach the finish line with your retirement goals. Don't let your financial worries give you an ulcer or keep you from calling Josh right now. His 48-minute, no-obligation consultation could be just what you need to feel better about your future. Call Josh today at 952-925-5608 and set up your free 48-minute, no-obligation consultation. That's 952-925-5608.
Investment services offered by Josh Arnold Investment Consultant, LLC, a security investment advisor. Past performance is no guarantee of future results. All investments involve risk. All comments and opinions are Josh Arnold's and do not constitute investment advice.
Chris Reavers is a paid endorser. Okay.
The earth is not your mother. The Joe Souchere Show.
Let's have a friendly little conversation about your outdoor environment at that place of yours. I want you to add value. You can do it. It's so easy. Add value to that living space. Force the equity up. Improve your curb appeal. And get a brand new, wonderful outdoor living space by using the company we here at GL have been using for years, ProfessionalTurf.com. I'm talking about their landscape division. Go to ProfessionalTurf.com. Get a free consultation so you can discuss that situation. They are a certified landscape designer. That's by the Minnesota Nursery Landscape Association. And they can work with you to design whatever you can dream up using their digital landscape imaging software. That means you're going to look at the finished project before they even start. It's really amazing. They specialize in absolutely anything and everything landscape related. It's a long list. No design is too big. And the work they do is amazing, and it will improve the curb appeal. And it just really helps your general well-being. Trust me, I had it done at my place in Minneapolis. I ended up loving spending time in the backyard. You can check out all their work and schedule that free in-person landscape design estimate at ProfessionalTurf.com.
We had the local city of St. Louis Park. Now let's turn to St. Louis, Missouri, which really got hit by a very strong tornado. Destroyed sustainable urban neighborhoods. Mm-hmm. I mean, this one was
a mess.
This one was a beauty. The person in charge of sounding the warning siren did not.
Ooh.
That
person, one job.
You had one job.
One job.
Hit the button.
Boom.
There is literally a clown button to hit, and it was not hit because that person was at a workshop down the street.
Ooh.
All right. That person's name is Sarah Russell. And I don't know, and I'm trying not to be
uncharitable.
I'm trying not to be uncharitable.
Thank you.
I don't know if Sarah... is that germane for me to be wondering about Sarah's gender? Is that germane
that part doesn't matter
to the siren situation?
I do have a 30 or 25-second clip from Sarah, if that helps.
Right? Is this when she's calling the fire department?
No, this is, I believe, the after the fact press conference.
All right. Well, anyway, don't play it yet.
No.
She was at a workshop down the street. I think it's she. I'm not.
Well, she identifies as they, them.
Oh. Well,
Bigger gum.
the long and short of it is she's been placed on, she's still getting paid, but the mayor placed her on administrative leave. She was attending an off-site workshop with other emergency management staff when the tornado warning came down, and that prevented them from activating the sirens from their agency's main building about a half mile away. Now, she did contact the fire department to activate the sirens, but I listened to that conversation, and we're not going to play it because it's too jumbled. I can't really hear what people are saying. Russell said to the fire department, "You got the sirens in?" And she was told, "Yes, ma'am." And the call ended. But it was so ambiguous and so garbled that I don't know what that meant.
The button wasn't working.
The fire department button?
Yeah. They discovered on Tuesday that the button was not working.
But the button that Russell could have pressed at her office was presumably working. But she wasn't
I believe
there.
so, yes.
Because when you're in the city government, you have a lot of workshops and stuff. Yeah. So this
It'd be
is
fun to find out what the workshop was, huh?
This is what now, Chris?
This is St. Louis CEMA Commissioner Sarah They Them as a tornado with 152 mile per hour winds arrived. They Them and their staff were not available to activate the tornado siren. 5 killed, 38 injured.
The SEMA office is very small, and the majority of the time we work closer to business hours unless the need arises, such as what we're doing now, or special events. A lot of that work takes us out into the community, so we aren't necessarily in our office space at all times. We do have a very small staff. I have received reports of people that did hear it. I've heard from a lot of people that said they haven't heard it.
Meaning the siren?
Meaning the sirens.
Oh. Well, it's a shame. You have, a big tornado. St. Louis can get a tornado.
You're going to get one.
See, if you look out the window, let's say you're half mile away. What's that, 6 blocks? You look out the window, she's dark as hell. If you got one job, why don't you just say, I'm leaving the workshop, I'm going to go back and hit the clown button.
Yeah.
I have one other question. If this must have been somewhat in the forecast, right?
Absolutely.
So shouldn't you have someone near a button? Anybody. I don't care. Somebody you can get a hold of to.
See, that's the basics of a city, is hitting the clown button when an F4 is going to hit your downtown area.
In the event that...
The button at her office was functioning. I'm reading that. I'm sorry. I saw the video footage. I mean, we're talking brick homes in St. Louis that were leveled. That's a shame. I suppose this. I don't know if that's a fireable offense or not. It's tough to fire anybody in the Mysterian public class because the closer you get to the country's tallest buildings, the more likely you are to not have a chief emergency management officer to hit the button because they got to be at a conference.
Let's admit it. None of us are surprised that government, be it city, state, or federal, has failed its voters.
No,
that's not a shock.
And I got a great. Now we're back to Minneapolis, which has 20 miles of vandalized streetlights that don't work. Yeah. But they got it figured out. Well, I got a note from Randall who took a photo.
Okay.
See, this is where we are now in America. If you're not fighting about a basketball hoop, you're trying to alert the criminals to it. We put little plaques now at the base of the streetlights. Here's one he sent from along the 28th Street Greenway bike path.
Okay.
And he got a little plastic sign at the bottom of the street lamp that says, "This is aluminum. It has no recyclable value."
Oh, to give the thieves a heads up.
A deterrent.
Don't waste your time with this one.
Which presumes two things. One, they believe these idiots can read.
True.
And two, that a sign would stop them.
Well, I kind of like it. I would, if I was a criminal, I would appreciate the warning because then I know I could concentrate my efforts elsewhere.
Right. Why waste your energy?
Right.
Do you know what this is akin to? Bear with me. 5 years ago, in the aftermath of George Floyd, remember these certain buildings where they would board up the windows and they would write there, kids sleeping upstairs, please don't burn this house. It's the exact same thing.
See, I thought it was more like the signs you see at convenience stores that say the cashier does not have more than $20 in his register.
Yep.
To which the crook robbing the place would say, what? I'll take all of that.
I need all that 20.
Yeah.
I need all of that.
Okay, I think I'm just having a brainstorm. Maybe the key to solving crime in Minneapolis is label everything.
Yes.
Like it's Mike Weber with the tag.
Label everything. Every car should be labeled. This car is not functioning properly. Do not take this car. Its
Needs oil
value
change.
has been diminished. This bank has no money in it. We've gone to a completely digital system. No money inside. Please don't rob us.
Right.
Ball joints
Yeah.
shot on this car.
They should have done that with a plane.
This jet from Qatar ain't worth your trouble.
Ain't worth S.
Or you could put a label, keys are inside, you might get to Owatonna.
Right.
Yeah.
And we'd exhaust the criminal because they'd be running from target to target only to discover everywhere they went there was a label saying, don't bother, this ain't worth anything.
The sign in my truck would be keys in the ignition, title in the glove box.
Yeah.
Have fun.
Yeah.
Make sure you wreck it thoroughly.
Yeah, I don't want to see this thing again.
I never want to see this thing again.
It's come to that. There is a little sign on the street lights that say, this contains aluminum, it has no value. Are you kidding me? This is unbelievable. We are
And
we're
Joe,
alerting the criminal to don't waste your time with this street light.
wait a minute. Aluminium.
Aluminium?
Come on, Alum, you can do it.
How do you say it in British?
Aluminium.
Aluminium.
It does have value.
Not to copper thieves.
It does have recycling value. It's just you have to have more of it.
Don't say that.
You have to
Then
have
we'll
more of it. than
40
copper.
miles of unlit streets.
Copper versus aluminium.
Aluminium.
Yes, aluminium.
Don't start that voice. You need a different voice for
How
that.
did you get here today?
Copper is valued as of May 21st, 2025. Copper has a value of $4.6 per pound, while aluminium, has a value of $1.12 per
See,
pound.
thugs, don't take the aluminum. It ain't worth anything.
Oh, we took a pay cut.
Yeah, that's what they're getting a pay cut. And in
Government,
St. Paul, the ladder you're going to have to buy is going to cost you more than the copper's worth.
Yeah.
Yes, you in the back.
Oh, do you think in the great state of Minnesota we're going to find a way to tax the amount of money we can steal on copper?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
The copper theft tax.
The 28th and Greenway, isn't that big hollowed out railroad
That's the trench.
deal?
Yeah.
Trench?
Yeah. That was fun before they put a bike path in there, and then all the clean, polished people started showing up.
You know, I think you're looking at this the wrong way, Mr. Mayor.
What's that?
These little insignias, these plaques, glad we fixed your mic. These plaques that we have on these streetlights,
Yes.
these could have sponsorship opportunities. You know, hey, 28th and Greenway, brought to you by
You know what?
the Garage Logic Podcast.
Brought to you by Taco Bell. And we're here
We
to
have to
remind you this isn't worth prying open.
We've got to find the digital imaging shop that created these signs. Find out what the city spent.
Oh, they're nice
See,
signs.
your old man was ahead of the game.
Well, he had.
He could have been.
He wanted to create magnetic signs.
Right.
But those would have easily been stolen. See,
Your ad here.
this looks like they're bolted in there. And there's really no. Well,
It's a nice city.
I meant to get to this yesterday. I consider this a ray of hope. GM, General Motors,
Familiar.
is turning much of its energy away from electric vehicle manufacturing. General Motors has begun urging employees to lobby lawmakers against the ban on the sale of new gas cars in California by 2035. So you have to start with California. And this cockwomble, if California has that law, cockwomble wants it here. No gas cars. But we got to prevent that. We need your help, GM wrote in an email to thousands of salaried workers, according to the Wall Street Journal. Emission standards that are not aligned with market realities pose a serious threat to our business by undermining consumer choice and vehicle affordability. The email comes as California's climate regulations are facing growing resistance. Do you know that California, no matter who's rating it, does not have one city in the top 100 cities in the country? Think about
One
that
more
for a
time.
minute.
Say that again.
California does not have one city that's ranked in the top 100 cities of America.
Not even San Diego?
No.
Wow.
Not one. Now, granted, those lists are generally worth the price you pay for.
Right, but it does base things upon financial livability, things like that.
Affordability, things like that.
'Cause I remember-
Not one city in California is in the American top 100 cities.
Well, I remember being out there 2 years ago thinking, how do people afford this? We went and bought groceries one day, and a gallon of milk was $8.
That doesn't help me because I don't know what that costs normally.
We know.
We got you.
But everybody else does.
For years, California has had a federal waiver allowing it to impose stricter tailpipe rules than the national standard. That authority led to a bold mandate. By 2035, all new cars sold in California must be EVs. Well, either EVs or hydrogen. 18 other states have adopted similar rules. Did Cockwomble? We don't have it, do we? I don't think so.
I don't think so.
Not yet.
Yeah. Don't give any
But
ideas.
with EV sales falling short of projections, the waiver is now under bipartisan scrutiny in Washington. GM's lobbying is the largest signal of shifting political winds. The company, second only to Tesla in U.S. EV sales, has walked back its earlier commitments to an all-electric future. GM once promised to build 400,000 EVs by 2024, and that it ended up selling just 114,000 of them last year. Still, that number represents a significant gain, but the growth hasn't matched regulators' lofty projections. EVs account for what percent of new vehicle sales in the U.S.?
1.3.
Anyone else?
3%.
Anyone else?
Yeah, right in there.
I was going to guess about the same, 2 or 3%.
7%.
7. Oh.
EVs account for, or about...
Did I win?
No, for about 7% of new vehicles sold in the U.S. Nationwide, EV deliveries fell 5% last month. In California, where EV adoption has consistently outpaced the rest of the country, electric and plug-in hybrids still account for only 20% of total sales, well short of the 35% benchmark required by 2026 under the state's current rules. So California has ruled what the consumer can buy, and it's backfiring. California has told you that you must buy what we tell you to buy.
Hell no.
And it's not working. GM believes in customer choice, and we continue to focus on offering the best and broadest portfolio of vehicles on the market, a company spokesperson said. GM has long supported one national standard and consistency in emissions regulations that are aligned with market realities. Well, market reality means price.
Okay.
The American consumer as judging by the 7% of sales, most generally speaking, either cannot afford or does not want an EV.
I do not want an EV.
Either do I. Now, Kenny, you looked up something about Cadillac. They were vowing to go all electric, right?
You can find every answer imaginable if you Google this story.
Yeah.
You can find no, GM is not stopping EV production.
I didn't say they were stopping it.
No, and you can find, yes, they definitely are, dated a year ago. And then you can find stories dated yesterday confirming everything you just said. It's very frustrating trying to find a true answer in regards to Cadillac. But it sounds like, and don't quote me on this, don't bring this to the bank, that they are going to continue to make gas-powered Cadillacs.
Right.
From all the confusing information I'm finding.
Plus, the automakers are facing the end of electric vehicle tax incentives. What modest sales there have been aided by you getting me and you and your neighbor paying for your neighbor's EV. That's going to end as well it should, as far as I'm concerned. Buy whatever you want, but I don't want to have to pay for it. So that could cut against battery electric adoption and recent billion-dollar investments for major brands. So on and on and on. VW, the second largest automaker, is ramping up production of its lowest priced EV, but they don't want to concentrate on higher priced EVs.
Yeah, I believe Chevy is still going after and promoting the Bolt.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
The Chevy Volt?
Did I say Bolt? That's the Bolt is the Yamaha bike. The Volt, I believe, is the Chevy car.
Kenny, I was behind one of those. I don't know how many people take this into account. I was behind one of those 2 or 3 days ago in rush hour traffic, and I'm thinking, if anyone accidentally runs into this person, they are gone.
Yeah.
The thing's the size of a shoebox.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but you can say that about a lot of cars on the road right now.
That's true.
A lot of them.
Yeah, that's true.
And I kind of feel like I know what Pat Garofalo feels like. To me, they make sense if you're commuting 10, 20 miles every day.
Joe.
And if that's all you're using it for.
Yeah.
You'd be
the perfect candidate.
You
America's
absolutely
prime candidate.
You are. You absolutely are. The problem is you're a motorhead.
Yeah.
Me,
Yes.
I'd have to stop 2 or 3 times on the way home and charge.
Right. You'd have to visit a library,
Right.
an art museum.
Oh, this one's by a pub.
Can you imagine living that life?
No.
Where you have to.
No.
The Target in Alec has EV chargers, and these guys stop in there and they sit there for 10 minutes. Like, well, how much charge are you getting in? Well, just enough to make it to the next charger.
I did pull up next to Volkswagen's new bus. They're mimicking the bus from the 60s.
Yeah,
It's an EV, and it's undeniably funky. So I gave her, she was a female driver, a thumbs up. She was to my left, so she rolled down her passenger window and said, "Isn't it fun?" I said, "Yeah, it's cool."
Then she called 911.
No, she did not call 911.
I saw the ads for those, and I said the same thing. That's really cool. I didn't really want an electric vehicle, so somebody in my family looked it up, and they're like $70,000.
Oh, I know, they're terrible.
Yeah, your size comparison. It's suburban. How big is it?
Oh, God, no,
it's
not
like
as big
the
as
old VW.
like an old VW 11-window bus.
Got it. Okay.
Very
It's the minibus thing.
And the other thing that's cool about them is they've got great colors.
Yes.
Oh, you two are a couple of old hippies. Why don't you just start puffing on the bong and pass out eating Doritos?
What time's our
listen to
next
you
gig,
two.
man?
Wow.
Well,
I gave my love a rose.
well, the other thing I would like to say about colors is that, block after block are just miserable gray cars.
Yep.
And here comes, her car was a really, really neat yellow. It was a yellow and white.
Like
And
this? Sorry,
exactly. That's the car
Okay.
right there.
I just looked it up.
Yeah, and so color. I'm a big fan of colors in cars.
We all live in a yellow.
Yeah. You want to take a break for Mr. Heidt?
I do, but first I want to tell everybody about my friends at Hofferman Water and Connecticut. If you haven't acted yet, well, now is the absolute time to get on that schedule to have them come out for that free water analysis. Why? I'm glad you asked. That's because right now is the anniversary sale going on through the end of the month of May. And here's the details, ladies and gentlemen. $400 off a K5 reverse osmosis system. That's the system that Chris Reavers has in his home. You can also get the free A200 drinking water system with the purchase of a Premier Series softener, Joe Souchere. I'll give it back to you when I'm done with this ad.
That was a signal.
Gotcha. Half off basic installation for any 1-year rental contract. Now is the time. And here's the neat thing about Hofferman Water and Connecticut. They also offer 0% interest and same as cash financing with approved credit. They're the best, they work fast, and their professionals really do a nice job installing those water treatment systems. I've had it done at 2 separate homes, and I know it's going to make an amazing difference in the quality of your water, as they have done for me. So your first step is you have to get on that schedule and have them come out for that free water analysis, and they're going to give you this thing called a water score. And based upon that water score, they're going to give you some recommendations on how they're going to help improve the quality of your water. So call them directly at 612-895-2440 or book your appointment online at HoffermanWater.com. And also, if you go to that website, you can see every single water treatment system that they have to offer. Again, 612-895-2440 or visit HoffermanWater.com. And that's because Hofferman Water has been proudly serving the state of Minnesota for over 50 years. Please do me a favor and mention that you heard about them on the Garage Logic podcast, Joe.
I maybe water is what triggers this. I don't know why I feel it necessary to tell you this, but I've gone down a rabbit hole, something terrible, watching these videos of guys detailing barn find cars.
Sure.
And what they're coming up with is they're obviously alerted by the public to be contacted, and they do these cars for free in exchange for, and they get ads during their videos, and for all I know, they're doing very well. WD Detailing is the one I've been watching, and I learned something. What they generally do is they'll find a guy who put a Corvette away in 1982 after driving it home from the dealership. I want more of that story, but that's not really their deal. They just want to show you the detailing. And what I've learned is the brown spots you see after years of storage that aren't mold, it's mice poop that the mice walk in and kind of spread around. And so it's that I don't know why I feel necessary to point that out, but I'll be looking for it the next time because I come across cars that have been stored for ages, and all that is just mice poop.
Don't the mice know that they're too small to drive that thing?
No, and then you have to find the right product that just gets rid of the mice poop stage.
Interesting.
That's all. I just wanted to share that with.
HoffermanWater.com?
That's it.
Gotcha. All right.
Okay.
Here's a man who spends hours in hardware stores, sifting through the nuts and bolts of life. Joe Souchere.
I told you guys once already, but I'm going to tell you again. I'm heading out on a trip. I'm heading out west, my brothers. September 3rd through 7th. This is all put together by
This the Dude Ranch thing?
Teresa and Maria at Escape With Us Vacations. And if you want to sign up to go on that, you are certainly welcome to do that. But I would do
comes
it
Rook.
quick.
Hey, y'all. Here he comes. Feet are dragging on the ground.
I'm telling you, located 2.5 miles from the center of the West's most iconic cowboy town, Tombstone, Arizona.
That is cool.
And the
It's
Tombstone.
also foghornable.
Why?
Not during it.
You said iconic.
Iconic, you're right.
Sorry, Teresa. Sorry, Maria.
That's all right. They're happy to hear about that. The Tombstone Monument Ranch and Cattle Company, a historic dude ranch, working cattle ranch, authentic Old West experience. If you want to experience that, then why don't you get in touch with Escape With Us Vacations and tell them you want to go to Tombstone September 3rd through the 7th. It's going to be a blast. Spend 4 nights exploring the surrounding area by horseback, off-road, UTV, historic mines, all sorts of great stuff. What you have to do is get in touch with my sisters at Escape With Us Vacation. 651-788-4338. Round trip on Sun Country Airlines from to Phoenix. Comfortable round trip motor coach and airport transportation. 4 nights accommodations, breakfast, lunch, and dinner daily, and 4 different ranch activities with nightly entertainment. I'm going to walk into the saloon right through those doors and order myself a whiskey. 651-788-4338. Also, details coming soon on Croatia Yacht in September 2026. So mark your calendars. EscapeWithUsVacations.com.
We got an email from Tom correcting us, calling us dummies, and that we don't know what we're talking about. Tom, you know us well, so thank you for that. He says the superchargers can charge the car in 10 to 15 minutes. Plug in, go inside to pee, get some snacks, and you are on your way.
Well, no, it's still too long for me.
Okay.
I ain't eating no snacks. I mean, what do you want? Let's go.
You just don't like the word snacks, do you?
No, I don't. I don't like the word. John Heidt in his newsroom.
Hi.
There he is.
This news is brought to you by North American Banking Company. The St. Paul City Council yesterday renaming 2 spaces to reflect historical status as Dakota sacred sites. I think you mentioned this yesterday, Joe. The council's approval of recommendations from the state tribal historic preservation officers will rename the Bruce Vento Nature Sanctuary and Indian Mounds Regional Park to Wakan Tipi and Wakahapi, respectively. The area encompassing both of those sites will now be called Imnuzaska, according to staff.
Yeah.
According to a staff report presentation, the strip of green space between the Dayton's Bluff neighborhood and the train tracks that runs along the Mississippi River holds deep spiritual significance for the Dakota. The renaming was a Dakota-led effort, according to a spokesperson for the city.
So I was very, very wary about this because we're talking about the Indian burial mounds, right?
Yeah.
And we've heard, all of us have heard that forever that these Indian burial mounds are ancient.
Yeah.
And they've been around since the 80s and the BCs, and that led to me wondering, well, what the hell did the Dakota have to do with them? Turns out they also used them, sometimes burying their dead inside or on the edges, but other times just up on top of the mounds. So they have been used throughout the years by different tribes, going way back to the BC years.
Huh.
Yeah.
Federal
Thank you.
You're welcome. The more you know.
Yep.
Federal judge yesterday ordering federal immigration authorities in Minnesota to immediately release a Turkish University of Minnesota grad student who had been arrested after his visa was revoked without notice. Immigration and Customs Enforcement detained Dogukan Gunadyan at his off-campus residence on March 27th, and as of Wednesday, he was still in custody at the Sherburne County Jail. Judge Jeffrey Bryan ruled that Gunadyan's continued detention violates his Fifth Amendment right to due process. The U.S. Department of Homeland Security said the student visa was revoked because of a 2023 DWI conviction. U.S. attorneys wanted him to be detained until his case was adjudicated, arguing the misdemeanor made him a threat to public safety. In court, Gunadyan's attorney argued he does not present any danger or flight risk, and he has since completed the terms of his probation. From the Star Tribune, 6 billboards placed across Duluth blast the Trump administration for cuts to Voyageurs National Park as part of a pro-labor news outlet's national campaign. The progressive nonprofit More Perfect Union placed similar billboards in 43 cities across the country. Here in Minnesota, they take aim at the Department of Government Efficiency, or DOGE, for reduced staff and increased danger, it says, at Voyageurs, a 50-year-old, 218,000-acre park near the border. Like other national parks, it's been the target of cuts, and its workers have faced uncertainty in court rulings. More Perfect Union's executive director, Faiz Shakir, said in a statement that national parks are, in his words, some of the country's most cherished resources. Shakir was a manager of Bernie Sanders' 2020 presidential campaign. George Soros' Open Society Foundation has given more than $2 million to the nonprofit, according to their website. In a statement, Interior Department spokeswoman Katie Martin called it a misinformation campaign and the nonprofit a Bernie Sanders dark money group. She said, "We're working hard to make this another great year for visitors so everyone can enjoy the beauty and wonder of the treasured landscapes in our parks all across the country." There's a 7th billboard now up also in Hermantown. A couple of stages at the Minnesota State Fair will have new names in 2025. How far are we away from the fair now? Let's see, June, July, August. Just a couple months, right?
We will be there only on the 2 Fridays of the fair.
2 Fridays. Mm-hmm. I ran into a fella yesterday at the local Costco wearing one of our sweatshirts. And he said, I have to stop at the fair and get a new one this year. And I said, well,
best of luck to him.
I said, I think we're only there 2 days. So I said, but the store probably will be open.
The store is open.
Sure. Yeah, the store is probably open other days.
The fun part of that is only having 2 shows to book is we'll still be sparse with guests.
Well, the hope was that we wouldn't be.
Right. Yeah. Right. Yeah.
Leinenkugel's and August Shell Brewing Company had sponsored free music venues at the fair for decades, but that run is coming to an end this year. The Leinie Lodge Band Shell will now simply go by the Band Shell, and the Shell stage at Schilling Amphitheater is now called West End Market Stage at Schilling Amphitheater. The Minnesota State Fair said sponsorship agreements typically last 1 to 3 years. We have been privileged to collaborate with special valued sponsors over many, many, many years, including Leinenkugel's and August Shell, according to a fair spokesperson. We recognize that companies reassess their budget priorities for a variety of reasons, and we respect that every situation is unique. Leinenkugel's first sponsored the International Bazaar in 1990. It transferred its sponsorship to the Band Shell in 2001. Leinenkugel's will continue to be available at the State Fair, according to a spokesperson for the company. And though it is common for brands to shift sponsorships, will continue to show up at various partners at events across Minnesota. Coors faced backlash last year when it decided to shift production of Leinie's to Milwaukee, ending a 157-year run at the historic brewery in Chippewa Falls, Wisconsin. August Shell Brewing Company began as a sponsor of the Heritage Square stage in 2004, then sponsored the stage at the Schilling Amphitheater, but Heritage Square turned into West End Market in 2014. That brewery did not immediately respond to a request for comment of why it's canceling this year. Also new in 2025, the Summit Brewing Company will formally append its name to the International Bazaar stage after sponsoring the venue for years.
Are we to suspect that they've been told of a price increase for their sponsorship that they don't want to pay?
May I help you?
You may.
Because I know we had our buddy Bartley Bloom on from Bent Brew Distillery, Mike and I did on Tuesday. Mm-hmm. He is no longer going to be in operation after this weekend.
The whole distillery?
They are selling their operation to be determined what's going to happen in the future.
But people quit drinking?
Craft beer is really, really hurting right now. Craft beer is.
Why? What are kids drinking? Those marijuana-infused
drinks? They're usually switching to THC. Seltzers are now very popular, but craft beer, it hit its saturation point, I would say, before COVID. And after that, it didn't really help.
Is it also because there's so many? I mean, how many breweries do we have?
Yeah, the saturation point hit right before COVID.
I almost feel personally responsible.
Yeah,
and because Joe quit drinking.
You're in my fault, Joe.
John and Joe gave it up, so
I had a fiduciary responsibility to Surly. And
to make the rounds.
Failed it.
Why don't you just hand it to me? I'm still in the game right now.
Yeah. As a side note about this story, they did name all the side acts that are going to be there this year over the weekend, which is weird. You'd think they'd keep it during the news cycle. Mm-hmm. Some great acts playing on those 2 stages.
Because the fair books it, not the people that sponsor the...
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, that's what I thought.
But I would assume a lot of the sponsorship money must go to some of those acts, because there's some pretty big acts there.
Well, can you tempt us with some of the names?
I can tell you that one of the finest bands in the history of rock and roll will be there this year.
Los Lobos?
Not Los, Kenny. Los.
Las Lobos?
Los
Lobos?
Don't start, Rook. I see you. Yeah, they will be at one of the stages. And a bunch of other great acts, too, this year.
And Joe, just so we clear up any confusion, that's Los Lobos, L-O-S, as opposed to a crossed, which is 2 S's and 1 T.
I almost said a cross. Did you guys catch that?
I did.
During that newscast. I switched it quickly. Yeah, I seen it coming, so I didn't say it crossed. Sorry. Why don't we take a break at this point?
Mike Schoonover is here because, well, positive. It's Positive Thursday. And as always, it's brought to us by Schoonover Body Works and Auto Care. They're in Shoreview, 1060 County Road E. Happy Positive Thursday, Mr. Mike Schoonover.
Happy Positive Thursday, Kenny. It's good to be here with you, buddy.
Tell me how it went for you guys last Saturday in Coon Rapids for your Play for Patrick Heart screen. How'd that work out?
It worked out. It was a little stressful. I think we talked about last week of trying to recruit kids and families to participate. We did end up, screening 120, almost 130 kids.
Okay.
But get this, Kenny. So 25 of them had elevated blood pressure.
Oh my!
After a second check, and we've revised and modified and how we track that so that we try to be as accurate as possible and using different statistics, through the medical community that are used. So
sure,
we're pretty darn accurate on that whole blood pressure thing because that's very important. But then we also found 5 abnormalities in the echo in the structural heart defect side of things, and all 5 of them are recommended to follow up with a cardiologist.
Wow!
And then we had 2 EKG or electrical findings. One is potentially life-threatening.
Oh my!
And then obviously both of those are also recommended to follow up. So, 127 kids and 7 abnormalities, and then 20 some odd kids with elevated blood pressure. So now the elevated blood pressure may just be from that day at that time, but that's
right.
25 kids that are going to have their blood pressure checked kind of routinely just to see what's going on with them. So
a lot of different things can affect the blood pressure, so that's not a surprise and really easy to follow up on.
Yeah, but it should be, and it should be. And I think, for, GLers, adults alike, I think we should be, routinely checking our blood pressure because it's one of those things that you don't keep an eye on. So, drugstores, Target, Amazon, they sell those blood pressure checkers that you should just check your blood pressure.
I have 3 of them, Mike. They're like when I used to smoke, I had a pack of cigarettes everywhere. Now I have those things everywhere. Wherever I go, I've got a blood pressure deal. Yeah.
Hey, we might have a new line on a new sponsor for GL.
What a great idea!
There we go.
Those 7 kids, though, you made a huge impact in their life, and now those 7 kids, and I bet their parents are glad you found out before it was too late, huh? Oofta.
Yeah, absolutely. So I guess it doesn't really matter how many kids we screen. It's just that we're finding those, of those, certain percentage of the population that we're finding that have the issues, and I'm glad that those kids showed up that day. So that was good, regardless of the attendance. I guess that's not the important piece. The important piece is that there was kids there that we did identify with having issues that need follow up. So
right. So and this will be the last screening until school is back in session. How would you grade the efforts and all the screenings you've had since last fall? Are you happy with the results?
Oh, yes. Yeah. I mean, this is we're a 501c3. We depend on donations from people and our volunteers donate their time, and we have just a wonderful following for all volunteers, but especially those in the medical profession, the echo techs, the EKG techs, the nurses, and then most importantly, the physicians, the cardiologists, the medical doctors, even the retired ones. We're getting more and more retired physicians that are coming and spending the time with us, and they absolutely love the day. They just are there, and they got a smile on their face, and they're talking to these families, and they're in their element. They're not getting paid, but they're giving back, and so it's just fantastic. So our goal, and then Kenny, I think we talked about it. We're upping AED ante and starting to put AEDs out in the community that are, the containers that hold them, temperature controlled so that they can be out in the elements, be out in the weather, hot, cold, you name it, and then they're serving the public 365 days a year, 24 hours a day. So, this summer we're going to be redoing some processes and procedures and trying to look into how we can make this whole process better, make it better for the volunteers, make it better for the participants. And then obviously with us spending more money on these AED units called the Safe Station, we're going to have to up our game on fundraising. So yeah, we're gonna have a great summer, but we're gonna get a lot done. And then our next heart screening will be down near Rochester in the town of Iota. Or you guys would have fun with this on the show saying Iota. But that'll be in October, so you'll hear more about that next fall.
And of course, Joe would say, yeah, that's somewhere by St. Cloud. So GLers, you can help out here, even though they're taking the summer off. Please go to playforpatrick.org. They'll accept cash. They'll accept volunteers. And that's also where you go to sign your kids up for when they start these screening events this fall. Again, playforpatrick.org. And if you have any needs at all for your automobile, get to Schoonover Body Works and Auto Care. They've been doing it since 1938. They are the official shop of Garage Logic and always rated as one of the top shops in the metro. That website, schoonoverbodyworks.com. Thank you, Mike.
Thanks, Kenny. Thanks, GLers. Everybody have a great day.
And now, a man who has never had a relationship with a tree, Joe Souchere.
I got a surprise for you.
What do you got?
A Memorial Day surprise, because we're not going to be here tomorrow.
That's right.
So it's time to name this week's GLer of the week.
Talk to me.
How did we plan so well and not screw it up this week?
It's another babe.
Who does she know?
Sherry Sahlstrom from Crystal, Minnesota. Sherry. Probably spelled foghornably. S-H-E-R-I.
You can't foghorn a GLer of the week, can we?
Thank you, Sherry, for your support of Garage Logic and being a faithful member of the Town Council. Along with our warmest personal regards, you're getting that tasty $50 gift box from Masters Mpls.
And you are going to be very happy about that.
We're closing in on the halfway mark, but there's still a chance for you to be recognized as GLer of the week in this 2025. Council members with annual memberships are automatically entered, and if for some reason you're not a council member yet, get to garagelogic.com today for your chance to win in June. But right now, it's Sherry's turn. Sherry Sahlstrom from Crystal, Minnesota. You are the GLer of the week.
And just a little quick plug here before the end of the program today. Those of you that are in the town council, and those of you that watch the show on YouTube, you are in for a special treat before the end of the program today.
I didn't know that.
I know you didn't.
I don't like when I'm not told about the special treats.
Well, you are going to enjoy it probably more than anybody walking the planet.
Very good. Not that thing with me and Royce.
Just buckle up.
All right. Because I've seen that.
Yeah.
Where are we? Oh, it's Heidt. Yeah.
Hi.
Hey, John.
National and international news. 2 staff members of the Israeli embassy in Washington shot and killed while leaving an event at a Jewish museum, and the suspect yelled, "Free, free Palestine," after he was arrested. The stunning attack on Wednesday evening prompted Israeli missions to beef up security and lower their flags to half staff. The 2 people killed, identified as Yaron Lashinsky, an Israeli citizen, and Sarah Milgram, an American, were a young couple about to be engaged, according to the Israeli ambassador to the U.S. Lashinsky told others at an event he attended before he was killed that he was looking forward to going back to Israel to celebrate an upcoming Jewish holiday. The couple were leaving an event at the Capitol Jewish Museum when the suspect, who had been seen pacing outside the museum, approached a group of 4 people and opened fire, according to Metropolitan Police Chief Pamela Smith. The gunman, identified by police as 31-year-old Elias Rodriguez of Chicago, then walked into the museum, was detained by event security, and began chanting "Free free Palestine, according to police.
I don't know if a lot of Jews who've walked down the street and shot 2 Palestinians.
Yeah, I don't really know that at all.
I haven't seen those stories. Yeah.
Multiple people on board a private plane that crashed into a San Diego neighborhood early Thursday are dead, according to authorities. Assistant Fire Department Chief Dan Eddy said during a news conference that they will be investigating whether the plane hit a power line. No one on the ground was injured. But if you've seen the video, it was a pretty horrific sight. There were about 15 cars on fire from the fuel from the plane as the plane went down the street. The jet fuel went down, Eddy said, and took out all the cars on both sides of the street. The flight tracking site FlightAware lists a Cessna Citation II jet that was scheduled to arrive at the Montgomery Gibbs Executive Airport in San Diego at 3:47 a.m. It was coming from the small Colonel James Jabara Airport in Wichita, Kansas. Conditions at the time, according to authorities, were very foggy.
That city has a history of these crashes. There's been a few neighborhood airplane crashes in San Diego over the years.
House Republicans stayed up all night to pass the multi-trillion-dollar tax breaks package, with Speaker Mike Johnson defying the skeptics and unifying his ranks to muscle President Trump's priority bill to approval. With last-minute concessions and warnings from the president, the Republican holdouts largely dropped their opposition to salvage what the president calls his one big, beautiful bill. The president, in his morning social media posting, praised House Speaker Mike Johnson and Republican leadership for getting his major tax bill through the lower chambers.
Did you see the latest Truth Social post from the Donnie?
Oh,
It's a picture of him driving the golf ball and then Springsteen falling down on the stage in England.
I did see that. Did you see what George...
Why would you pick a war with Bruce Springsteen?
Why not?
Because you are a
I guess
narcissist.
it's fun. I guess
Did you
it's-
see what George Strait did? In
Yeah,
regards to
George
Bruce?
canceled his little Opry.
I thought that was pretty classy by George.
What,
And
what did he do? I'm sorry.
He was supposed to perform with Bruce at the Grand Ole Opry, and he said, "Nope, I'm done. I don't care who you are. You don't mix politics and music."
Right. Yeah.
And that was just I don't care what side of the aisle you're wearing. You don't.
Oh, Opry members wouldn't let Bruce out of there with, no, they'd shred him.
Well, is Bruce still going to do it?
I don't know.
I have no idea.
They'd boo him
I didn't
out
call
of the
him.
room. Did you see Neil Young trying to interject himself in the middle of the fight, too?
No, but I get a little tired of Neil.
Yeah, he's actually ready to throw hands.
I'm
He's
staying
ready
out of
to-
this conversation.
Neil's going to throw down.
Every part of it, actually, I'm staying out of.
Well, Bruce just likes to play that government music anyway, Ken.
Well, he's a government rock and roller.
I just love that musicians and actors think that we value their opinion, no matter what it is, no matter what side of the aisle you're on. It's country star.
Okay, now I got to get involved.
Okay, rapper.
I don't
Okay,
get that
white
argument.
guy.
Kenny, I don't get that argument. I don't get that
Neil,
argument.
Neil
at all.
Young ain't even an American.
Then
He's a
why do I care
foreigner.
what a plumber thinks?
That guy is an American
I
hater.
agree.
What
Why
do
do
I
we
care about what we
anybody
think, for God's sake?
Yeah.
But George's
Well, wait, we got to
message-
make a living here. Don't
Wait a
we?
minute, John's pulling back the curtain.
We've got to we're trying to earn a living here.
But George's message was basically that, hey, and this is from a while ago that I saw him say this, but basically the guy that worked hard to pay my $75 or buy a $75 ticket didn't come here to listen to me rant about politics, which I tend to agree with.
Well, in George Strait case, that is true. I would agree. But it's not necessarily true with every artist.
Okay.
Well,
I don't really care what they say.
Hey, you know what? You're the one that
I didn't want to hear taking care of business. I want to hear what you think about Trump.
Yeah.
Taking care of business?
That's,
BTO, I don't
that's
want
a
to hear him
northern
talk
band.
government
That's-
anyway.
Yeah.
That's one of them northern groups.
Yeah, it's a Canadian band, so
Yeah.
you're talking Canadian politics.
Bachman Turner Overdrive.
America.
Okay. Where was
America's in
I
trouble.
like an American band. And if they're coming to your town, they'll help you party down. I like an American band.
Unfortunately,
Hey, if you don't like America, then you can get it.
unfortunately they are touring, Rook. Unfortunately, they have no original members left.
Grand Funk is?
Yeah, no Mark Farner, no Dan Brewer.
Well, who bought the name?
Don Brewer. I don't know.
But do they still come
It's
to your
very
town?
Sad.
Yeah, and they'll help you party down.
Their album always made me nervous. The one where they were all naked in hay.
I never saw
You remember that picture?
Matt, I've never seen
Grand
that.
Funk Railroad.
No.
Don't.
The real question.
Are you making that up?
it.
Are
I
you
studied
making
it.
that up?
No,
studied
I
it.
will show you.
The question is,
I don't care.
Are they pro-Trump or are they anti-Trump? That's the question.
That's the question.
Looks thinking of the Village people.
I don't know where they'd be.
I don't know because I don't think artists should get involved in politics.
Yeah. Okay, George. Thank you very much, John.
Wait, is he done?
No,
done already?
No, you don't have to be. Go ahead.
No, I mean, I don't care. I got a lot of stuff.
Well, what do you got that's good?
Well,
wow.
Let's see. I don't know. I got another story about Trump.
No, let's not do that.
The South African president.
You got any story about that crap cab plane he took?
Stories that weren't true. And
trying to get rid of that piece of crap.
I got that
for
one too,
5
but
years.
I skipped that one already because you had talked about it. So
Wait, there was something we wanted to talk about.
Yeah, it was Grand Funk. We're an American band.
Here we go. Now we're getting to the bottom of it.
We got the parade. The parade.
It was either
the parade, John. Go to the parade.
The Army on Wednesday began getting ready to ship Abrams tanks from its base in Fort Cavazos, Texas.
Yeah, Cavazos.
To Washington, D.C. to take part in the 250th birthday parade along with the National Mall on June 14th, loading the tanks aboard trains that'll depart later this month. In all, 28 M1 Abrams tanks will be sent to participate in the parade. The 250th Army celebration, which also happens to fall on President Trump's birthday, has stoked speculation that the president wants to use the event to get the kind of grand military parade he tried to get in his first term. That event, though, was canceled when the cost estimates topped $90 million. This time they figure it'll be anywhere from 25 to 45 million. However, that final tally is expected to go a lot higher. U.S. Secret Service has designated the event a national security special event akin to the Super Bowl or an inauguration, requiring significant security resources. The Department of Homeland Security has not released a cost estimate for securing the event. The Army will also be on the hook for any damages done to roads in Maryland and Washington. Officials say they'll mitigate the risk of damage by putting new rubber treads on heavy vehicles and metal plates and on the roads where tanks might have to take a sharp turn.
I wonder if when the soldiers march by, do they have to turn in unison to look at Trump?
Real sharp.
Give him that kind of that look like you get in North Korea, that kind of look.
I love when your derangement syndrome boils over and you can't control yourself. It's so fun.
We don't take airplanes.
Joe, here's what I'm hoping for. I'm hoping that President Trump leads the crowd in "Happy Birthday to Me." God, that would be so awesome. Oh my God, I hope he does that. Please, Mr. President, do that.
We don't take planes from foreign people.
Kenny, that already happened.
We don't have military parades.
Yeah.
Can you imagine how triggering?
Happy birthday to you.
He was perfectly fit
Happy
when he did
birthday
this.
to you. Happy birthday, dear Alan. Happy birthday to you.
I think he was saying, "Dear Dalvin." Maybe it was Dalvin Cook.
Can you imagine how triggered everybody would be if President Trump sang "Happy Birthday" to himself?
Wall to wall.
Oh my God, it would be so fun.
It would.
A military parade. We don't do that.
Happy birthday to me.
Say, what are you waiting for? If you haven't called Ecofund for your spring delivery of your scooter or your bike, get on it. I got mine. 612-321-8867. Option 3 when the phone is answered. That's just in case you still have something in storage. With Ecofund Motorsports in Forest Lake and Burnsville, the best outdoor recreation store you'll ever be in. It's really fun. Electric bikes, scooters, youth recreational equipment, water equipment, side-by-sides, a variety of motorcycles. This is the place, and they got the helmets and the apparel in the service. But it is really fun. All the electric bikes are pre-tariff. They were loaded up back before the tariff struck, and they got a great big smooth parking lot. You take the electric bike you think you like, you take it outside, you get it perfectly adjusted. You'll have a whole summer of riding. It's really the place to be. And it's still some Yamaha generators, too. They had a big pile of them this winter. There's still some left. It's the greatest outdoor recreation store you'll ever spend time in. It's really fun. In Forest Lake / Columbus, it's on Highway 97, just immediately west of 35. 2 roundabouts and Bing Bang Boom.
You're there.
2 roundabouts and a Bing Bang Boom.
Let's go.
And down in Burnsville on the Service Road of Life near County Road 42, and a wonderful website, ecofundmotorsports.com.
Truth, justice, and the Souchere.
Here in the newsroom is John Heidt.
As usual, Chris Reavers.
What'd I say?
Spreading things that aren't true.
What?
A rumor that George Strait canceled an upcoming show with Bruce Springsteen and circulated online. And the claim, alleged Strait took offense to Springsteen's recent political comments. They had nothing scheduled together. In fact, are quite good friends. In fact, Strait and Springsteen have appeared on stage together several times during various concerts. There's no concert scheduled between the two. It hasn't been for quite some time.
Well, then this was issued by his account, John. I'm seeing it right
By
now.
whose account?
George Strait's.
A fake account.
Maybe it's
probably.
not a real account.
This is why the internet sucks.
This is why
And it's
social media
evil.
cannot be counted on for news.
Well, I
Are
knew,
you sure that isn't?
I knew immediately that it wasn't correct, but I had
The
not.
Well, then why
Babylon-
didn't you say something at the time?
Well, because I could. I did. Okay, I wasn't
You
sure,
guys,
but I was pretty sure.
You're letting the internet do what it. Don't let it do this to you.
The Babylon Bee?
It's the
The
internet's
Babylon Bee
job.
reported that Trump has declared war on Mexico after that ship crashed into the Brooklyn Bridge.
The internet is doing its job. It's making you two fight over something that's not worth fighting about.
Why is Kenny orange? He looks like Trump.
Kenny?
Look at Kenny. He's orange.
Does that trigger you?
Yeah,
does that
a
make
little-
you?
it does.
Does that make you?
It makes me want to do a puzzle.
Look at his head. It's orange.
Oompa-dee-doo. I've got another puzzle for
It is
you.
kind of orange, Ken. You got an orange tint to your light? Or?
He's got. Did you get into my dad's tanning?
I've got I've got 2 incandescents up here. Hold on.
Gotcha. Well, it's not bad.
No, it's better than when I had the incandescents on me, and I was.
Oh, that was awful.
I was.
Hey, Porky Pig, sit back down. I
Oh,
saw
no.
it.
Now
Look
you're
at that.
dark.
Now he's dark red.
Oh, now you're regular.
That is weird, man. You better go to the vet.
Be
You
nice
look
if
like you're
they'd
gonna-
send me a ring light. I need.
You look like you're going to give away U.S. secrets now in that lighting.
Look, I got to tell you guys. Can I go now? Seriously, I'm not. I'm not. I have no
feeling it?
interest in whatever you guys are going to talk about for the next 10 minutes.
You would like to miss on this day in Minnesota history?
Is that where you're going next?
Yeah.
All right, let's get it over with because I got a vacation to get to.
Sounds like Kenny's heard that before.
May I play one thing before we go, please?
Yeah.
Thank you for listening.
Because Kyle went to the great trouble of putting this together, and this made me LOL.
Uh-oh.
So for those of you watching on YouTube and those of you that have already seen this on Facebook, please enjoy Rookie Look at Your Screen.
Oh, yeah, I think I've seen this.
Could you explain one more time what an at-bat and a plate appearance, the difference between the two are one more time?
Are we still worried about Brian Harper?
Well, yeah, some guy called in and asked PK that, and he was going, well, it's at-bats. And then Sidney stepped in and said, no, it's plate appearances. And then they left it at that, like neither one.
Plate appearance is an at-bat.
Right.
Plus the walks, plus the sacrifices, plus the hit by pitches. That's plate appearances.
I figured you guys would be able to tell me one more time. Thanks a lot.
Yep.
Great show.
I mouth the words as Pat said. And Brian Harper is not averaging 3.1 for the number of games the Twins have played. That means he doesn't belong in the top 10, you idiots! Stop calling and asking! He doesn't belong in the top 10 because he doesn't have enough plate appearances! Do you understand that, you moron? Sorry this is one of
Oh,
the
it gets better.
I am so sick. I have chest pains. Absolutely stupid people. If Brian Harper belonged in the top 10.
You're really getting red,
He would
Pat.
be
You're
in the top
really
10.
getting red.
Associated Press at the end of each evening runs it through the computer and sends the top 10. And Brian isn't up enough. The next person who calls,
I hope to
newspaper, I'd like to
God.
track them down
I know
and
you would.
blow their house up. Blow them all to smithereens. How can they be so stupid?
Oh, you
I'd
should
like
know
to
that.
be nice to the listeners
All
and the
right,
readers.
now, I hope this next caller is not some woman or some kid that maybe had the water running or something.
I'm huffing and puffing.
I know, you're very red. I'm worried. Just calm down. Hello?
Hello.
Yes.
Yeah. Hey, thanks for clearing that up, Pat.
That is awesome. Nice job, Kyle.
Explain this to me.
AI.
What is going on with these babies doing
it's
bits?
a social media trend, Joe.
Is it an app?
What?
Is it an app? Do you get those little people on an app?
Yeah, and they will. It's an AI generated deal. So
Because that wasn't really you.
Oh,
Yeah.
what? I thought that was me.
That wasn't really you. All right, I got to run.
Did Kenny freeze already?
Yes.
No.
He left when he saw the baby.
He's still here. Only because they come to us all the way
His
from
glasses work.
all the way from the Traveling Lyman's in Marloth Park, Mpumalanga Province, South Africa. It was on this day.
Today is May 22nd.
Well, it was on this day in 1888. Minneapolis architect Leroy S. Buffington,
You don't say.
the father of the skyscraper, patented a construction method involving a steel skeleton that allowed structures to be built at any height.
Is that right?
Mm-hmm. On this day.
Today's May 22nd. Joe.
In 1945, the Rice County Historical Society acquired the Alexander Faribault House.
You ever been?
No, which it maintained as a historic site in Faribault. The house was built in Rice County at the confluence of the Canyon and Straight Rivers. Is it still there?
Oh, yeah. In fact, it's right next to the Cenex gas station.
I'll be. On this day,
Today's May 22nd.
1988, more than 1,000 people participated in the Twin Cities' first AIDS pledge walk, departed from Minnehaha Park and marched along the Mississippi River. They raised more than $100,000.
Really?
On this day,
Today's May 22nd.
in 2002, Governor Ventura signed a bill to finance a new baseball stadium for the Twins. The Twins had previously shared the Metrodome with the Vikings and the University of Minnesota. The new ballpark opened in 2010.
I remember that.
I do too. And finally, on this day,
I did not realize that Jesse was the one that signed that. Mm-hmm. Huh.
and finally, on this day,
May 22nd.
in 2011, I remember this quite well. A tornado hit North Minneapolis.
That's right.
Killing 1 and injuring 30. The storm caused an estimated $80 million in damages.
Didn't we, well, Kenny's not there. We had a guy that we used to work with that Kenny may have had on as a guest that was storm chasing with some fellow employees. Wasn't that Bob that got into the cruiser and went?
I don't know.
No.
On this day in Minnesota sports disappointment history,
May 22nd.
on this day
May 22nd.
in 1969, George Mikan announced that ABA headquarters will move to New York. Apparently they were here.
I did not know that. Were we an ABA franchise?
Yeah, we had a couple of ABA teams here.
Oh, I didn't know
The
that.
Fish and the, I don't know what. they were.
Wildlife?
John's looking it up. I can tell by his keyboard.
You are correct.
On this day,
Joe, today is May 22nd.
in 2005, Twins pitcher Terry Mulholland scratched his eye with a pillow feather in a hotel.
I vaguely remember that.
Oh, God.
What year again? Remind me, sorry. What year?
2005.
Okay. Because I remember we did the list of injured Twins, and that came up. Ricey and I did that once.
The Muskies, John, and the Pipers?
Minnesota Muskies and the Minnesota Pipers.
Boy, my memory's all right.
Look at you. Did you cover the ABA?
That was before my time.
It was before your time? Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
There's also another one in here, but I don't know why it's a disappointment. Perhaps you can tell me.
Do you remember the two most famous Twins injuries, non-baseball related, that we came up with outside of Terry Mulholland scratching his eye with a pillow feather?
I don't.
Rick Aguilera hurting his back lifting a suitcase.
All right.
Oh,
and the best of all time, according to the Ride with Royce, was Marty Cordova having to go on the disabled list because he burnt himself in a suntanning bed.
Well, plus all those players are too tight.
They're too tight.
They're too tight. Yep.
Too tight.
There's one more here. On this day,
on May 22nd,
in 2009, David Kahn was hired as GM of the Wolves.
Sweet Moses.
So that is a disappointment, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
All right.
God, he was a disaster. You know, he passed on Steph Curry twice.
Let me ask you something.
Talk to me.
The current head of the Timberwolves is Conley?
Tim Conley.
He quietly gets by in life doing one hell of a job, doesn't he?
Yeah.
I mean, he doesn't make a lot of news. He's responsible for this club.
Even though
was he responsible for the Karl Anthony Towns trade?
Yes.
Which worked out wonderfully.
How about that choke job by the Knicks last night?
I can't believe that.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
I stopped watching it. I thought it was a blowout by the Knicks.
Willie went to bed with 18 seconds to go, and I walked downstairs, and I said, hey, bud, they found a way to blow that one.
Holy mackerel.
He loves
At New York.
In the Garden.
How do you think it's plausible that maybe the inner circle of authority in the NBA has gone to the referees and said, it'd be a shame if after all these years the Knicks didn't make the finals, as opposed to the Cowherders or whatever the hell they are in Indianapolis.
Pacers.
The
Cowherders.
Do you think that's plausible?
Might be.
Well, it didn't work for last night.
Sure didn't. They were playing well, though. What are you going to do?
May I say one more thing about basketball?
Talk to me.
Which I only pay attention to in the playoffs. I admit I'm a no good fan. This SGA, which sounds like a supermarket. Shea Gilgeous somebody.
Yep.
I'm going to look tonight because I've seen the video replays of it. He falls down all the time.
If he gets vaguely breathed upon.
Well,
he likes
why
to fall
is
down.
that tolerated?
It shouldn't be, but you're right. I was very mad at the TV the other night.
I mean, he's a good player, isn't he?
Yeah, he won the MVP.
He won the MVP yesterday.
Well, then what's he doing with this act?
Because, unfortunately, certain guys can get away with it.
Apparently, he's one of them.
And it worked the other night. And it completely changed the momentum
then I'll
of the
go
game.
back to what I said the other day. They either ignore this person or beat the living crap out of him.
You got to call it on both ends.
Yeah. See, now I'll be accused of inciting violence.
And you shouldn't be inciting violence.
No, I'm not inciting violence, but I'm saying if this dainty little precious gemstone is going to fall down if you breathe on him, then give him a little something to send him on his way. Maybe a little hip check.
As my old man used to say, don't cry, or I'll give you something to cry about.
Yeah. What a bunch of B as in B.
You guys, I love the Timberwolves, and I hope they win, but see now, as a guy who doesn't like, certain Minnesota teams, you guys have kind of sounded like Minnesota fans at this point.
Okay.
Well, what are you? Are you above being a Minnesota fan?
No, I'm just saying.
Sure, John, you're above it.
The officials, they cause everything.
Joe, I didn't know you were...
John, are you going to deny that this SGA supermarket guy gets a lot of calls?
I thought he got a few calls,
Yeah.
sure.
Joe,
NBA is impossible to referee at this point.
It is, but it isn't impossible to referee when you clearly are fainting as though you've suffered a Qatar.
Oh, my arm.
Qatar, wow.
That's where the plane came from. I am just seeing it, too. George Strait just announced because of the bad officiating, he is not going to sing the national anthem in Oklahoma City tonight.
Hey, one more shout-out. Sherry Sahlstrom from Crystal.
Way to go, Sherry.
GLer of the week. Thank you, GLers. Have a wonderful Memorial Day weekend. I'm not going to ask you your plans. It's none of my business.
But if you'd like to email your plans,
I'll see you Tuesday.
gljoe@garagelogic.com. That would be a fun bit.
That would be a good
Email
bit.
your weekend plans to Joe. Hey, hi, how are you? You should hit subscribe on the Garage Logic YouTube channel. Yeah, Garage Logic has a YouTube channel, and you can watch the show each and every single day starting right around noon. And on that YouTube channel, you can see full segments, video shorts, behind-the-scenes footage in some cases. However, it's all there for you. It's online at the Garage Logic YouTube channel, and you can follow us along on all of our social media channels, which includes Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And what am I forgetting? Oh, don't forget to sign up for the Daily Logician. That email comes right to your inbox each and every single day, and it includes the most recent episode of the podcast. And as Joe mentioned, we will have a best of tomorrow and a best of on Monday, and we'll see you back on Tuesday. Time once again to check in with our guy, Mr. Money Talk. Josh Arnold is with us once again here in Garage Logic, and now is the time for you to do the same. So do not delay. Do exactly what I did and pick up that phone and dial 952-925-5608. That number once again is 952-925-5608. When you call that number, you're going to get Josh, and he is there for you for that free, yes, I use the word free, 48-minute financial consultation with absolutely zero obligation, and he will always give you the straight talk. He will never give you the sugar-coated advice, and he is on the line with us once again here in Garage Logic. And boy, Josh, I know you got a lot to get to today because another down day on the market, but interest rates are a concern. But is there some good news here on the horizon?
There's plenty of good news on the horizon, and we didn't want to be overly negative as we might have sounded yesterday. But every time that I talk about the impact of tariffs, that's all I can think of is a lot of negativity and unforced errors on the part of the administration in an effort either to get trade deals or the belief that by increasing tariffs, you can raise tax revenues for the United States without having adverse impact on businesses, business spending, consumers, and consumer spending. The belief that somebody else is going to pay that tariff, to me, is today and was before nonsensical. The tariff is paid by the business on who it is imposed on. And that business is going to pass that tariff along to consumers, whether they be individuals or business consumers. That is either going to increase prices, or if the corporations eat it, as has been suggested, that will reduce their margins, or the company will be forced to cut costs, which will hurt employees. So not a good overall situation. Now, I recognize that the use of tariffs has been used for a lot of years, and mostly it's to protect certain industries and allow them to build their business. But in every case, if you impose tariffs, then there's going to be a reciprocal tariff placed by the export markets. Today, Target reported their numbers. They missed on the top line and bottom line. They cut their guidance, and they indicated that they missed because of, we'll say, three reasons. First, tariffs increased their costs. Second, they felt that consumer discretionary purchases were down. And lastly, they cited the impact on their business from the change they made in DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion policies within the company. And Target, as a result of changing those policies, definitely suffered boycotts from different groups over the last quarter. But I would look more at, we'll say, their business losing out more to other competitors than anything else. Not to mention some poor retail choices that they made over a year ago, which alienated another batch of customers. That said, the leaders in retail right now still been Walmart, Costco, Amazon, and in fashion, we can take a look at TJ Maxx, which beat again on the sales numbers. They kept their guidance, and the stock, after moving up, had a short retreat, and that probably gives investors an opportunity to take a look at, and you're looking at retail, TJX, which owns the TJ Maxx stores, Marshalls, and several others. In this environment, TJX has definitely been a winner. Another winning retail stock, which has very limited exposure to tariffs, is, I'll say, my old friend eBay, which is finally approaching an all-time high, and it has, very little tariff exposure. Typically in good economies, you'll have more buyers, and less robust economies, you'll have more sellers. And eBay, being an online auction, has been a very slow, steady grower and is rewarded with a low price to sales multiple, a low PE, and it does have a small dividend. But this market environment, eBay, looks very interesting. On the other side, where there's a lot of volatility, and some of that volatility can be attributed to rising interest rates, you've got technology shares, which tend to fall as interest rates move up, but offer, at least in my mind, some of the best opportunities for longer-term growth. And artificial intelligence, which we have talked about more than once, is still a theme that has to be taken advantage of. I think it can be taken advantage of through some of the larger tech names, like favorites Apple and Amazon, also Google, which has a conference right now, Meta, and of course the chip companies like NVIDIA. And then there are companies that utilize artificial intelligence, including favorite Palantir, among others. Do be prepared that these companies are very volatile, and if you have difficulty dealing with the volatility, they may not be for you, but it is a theme that to me makes a lot of sense going forward.
And that's why we come to you for the straight talk, and we never get the sugar-coated advice, Mr. Money Talk. You heard him, GLers. Now is the time for you to pick up the phone and make the call for that free 48-minute financial consultation, just like I did, by dialing 952-925-5608. Mr. Money Talk, it's always a pleasure to talk to you. Thanks so much for the time and the chat. Enjoy the rest of your day, and we'll talk to you again tomorrow.
Thank you.
Investment services offered by Josh Arnold Investment Consultant, LLC, a security investment advisor. Past performance is no guarantee of future results. All investments involve risk. All comments and opinions are Josh Arnold's and do not constitute investment advice.
Chris Reavers is a paid endorsed